Start your day with a boost, the natural way. Welcome to Shroom Brew Cafe, where our Shroom Brew coffee energizes you naturally. Experience the perfect blend of rich coffee and powerful mushrooms that not only wake you up, but also enhances your focus and supports your digestive health. From our energizing Shroom Brew coffee to our specialized products for focus and digestion, Shroom Brew Cafe has what you need to feel your best. Visit us today at Dr. T23.site, that is DRT23.site, and discover the power of shrooms today. Let's start the show.
Hey, come on in and welcome to A Win is a Win podcast, where sports and everything else collide. Comfortable? All right. Let's go, Dr. T.
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Happy holidays to those of you who celebrate. Hope you ate good and you're in an upright position, not with the itis in full. All right, time to work that off. Whatever you ate, plates were full. Get that out your system and get ready for the next holiday that's coming. Welcome back to A Win is a Win. Listen, thank you guys for running the numbers up. Thank you guys so much for your subscriptions. But hey, don't forget, tell someone to tell somebody else to join The Win is a Win and smash that subscribe button. If you like what you're hearing, it helps us with the algorithm. Hit the like button while you're at it. It helps us, get more visualization and get this podcast out there to other people. I'm glad you guys are appreciating it. Don't forget you can check us out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. We got some scores to jump into, y'all. So let's talk about the Rams. The Rams fall to the Eagles 20-37. Hurts was 15 of 22 with 179 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Stafford was 24 of 36, 243 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns. And listen, Saquon got up out of New York and found a new home. And yep, Barkley set the tone with a 70-yard touchdown in that game. Big dogs still have work to do, but they knocked off the Steelers 24-19. Wilson 21 of 28, 270 yards, 1 touchdown. And Winston 18 of 27, 219 yards, 1 interception. Listen, Chubbs, he's just doing Chubb things, and he did it in a complete whiteout. Shout out to those Alberta Clippers that come over Cleveland. Lake Erie Packers packed up the Niners 38-10. That's right, 38-10. Allen 17 of 29, 199 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Love 13 of 23, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran the ball down their throats. Listen, with 169 to a team total of 44 rushing yards. Ran it down. Listen, Seahawks quiet the Cards with a light tap. 16-9. Murray 24 of 37, 285 passing yards, 1 interception. And Smith 22 of 31, 254 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Big Cat Leonard Will had lunch all afternoon. He needs to be in the Defensive Player of the Week conversation, in my opinion. The Titans hold off the Texans 32-17. Levis 18 of 24, 278 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Stroud still struggles to take care of the ball. Titans ran for 132 to 40 rushing yards for over the Texans. So they put the ball on the ground and they they said, let's go. Big Broncos take down the Raiders 29 to 19. Now listen, y'all, what's next for the Raiders? Because the math ain't mathing. I mean, or should I say the ball ain't balling. Minshew is out for the season, broken collarbone. Knicks 25 of 42, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns. Minshew 25 of 42, 230 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Listen, the Lions, yeah, they are still them. Mm-hmm. Listen to me, okay? Listen. 24-6. Yeah, beating the Colts. Goff had 26 of 36, 269 passing yards. Richardson, 11 of 28, 172 passing yards. Gibbs had 21 carries for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. And also, while we are talking about the Lions on Thanksgiving, took them down in that game. Almost got lost though, 23-20. Now listen, I want to know if Matt Eberflus is going to be employed by the time the next game comes, because what in the entire hell were you thinking to not call a timeout after that ball was down with 32 seconds left on the clock? You still had about 27 to 25 seconds to get your field goal unit on the team tied up, send it into overtime. Poor clock management. Do you still have a job, sir? Because, in my opinion, the Bucks kept the Giants sleeping 30-7. Mm-hmm. Mayfield, 24 of 30, 294 passing yards. DeVito, 21 of 31, 189 passing yards. Listen, somebody is getting fired because ain't no way Dabo still has a job. And then you get rolled over by the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. 20-27, you take the L. Too many mistakes, marching the ball backwards every single chance that you got during that game. Don't even understand how he still has a job. Chiefs barely hold off the Panthers. Yep, the Panthers skated by 30-27. Mahomes 27 of 37, 269 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. And Young was 21 of 35, 263 yards, 1 touchdown. Hey, let me tell y'all something. Okay. The Panthers took the L, no doubt. But Young played his ass off in that game. Give the young brother his flowers, please. Speaking of the Chiefs, they skate by the Raiders. That's right. They find a way to keep stacking up the W's. Barely coming off these wins, but a win is a win. 19-17 tonight. Friday Night Football on Amazon Prime. I don't know what's, like I said, is going on with the Raiders. I don't think that they played a bad game, but I don't think that the Chiefs played that much better, in my opinion. But somehow, some way, Mahomes and company, they still find a way to take these little small wins. Can they keep that up though when playoff football starts? Because Thanksgiving is the telltale sign. So what's going to happen now when teams are starting to ramp up and get ready for that playoff football? Interesting to see if they can keep up these scarce, just getting by wins. Dolphins weren't so patriotic and knocked them off 34-15. May 22 of 37 with 222 passing yards, 1 touchdown. And Tua 29 of 40 with 317 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Patriots dug a hole early and they really just couldn't really get out of it after that. But speaking of the Dolphins, they just can't play in the cold. I'm sorry. You can call it whatever you like. They can't. And every single time they try, they come up short. and they take the L to the Packers on Thanksgiving, losing 30-17. So, I don't really know what it is. I do know that cold teams play and practice in cold stadiums. They have the big warming fans on the side of the field in case you get cold or you get the jitters. You can warm up. Some even have heated benches. Not sure if that exists in every stadium, but nonetheless, the fans got frozen up there in Green Bay, and it don't take much to get frozen up there in Green Bay. And before the Cowboys took the W on Thanksgiving, they finally had gotten their first win. And they take the dub over the Commanders 34-26. I mean, Cowboy fans, don't go and get your jerseys out the trash can just yet. Okay? They still have work to do, but they did come off with 2 wins, and see if the momentum shifts. Because when we get into sports news, we're going to talk about yes, the man cannot keep a zipper on his lip, Jerry Jones, and he says that he's not opposed to extending the contract for McCarthy next year. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with that and much more.
Your AI sidekick has arrived. That's right. Turn off the bat signal because Blaze is here to save the day. Blaze is an AI sidekick for overwhelmed teams of one just like you. Brainstorm and outline content ideas with AI. Go from idea to on-brand content in minutes. Turn a blog post into 10 plus asset types, ads, social posts, emails, and more. Collaborate with colleagues in real time and get content approved. Go to drT23.site. That is DRT23.site. Navigate to Blaze and download today.
All right, so I think, no, yeah, I don't think, I know. Jerry Jones has absolutely lost it. Now, when he was on 105.3, The Fan, conversation about Mike McCarthy came up. And this is what Jerry said. I don't about his contract extension, and Jerry says, I don't think that's crazy at all. This is a Super Bowl winning coach, and he has great ideas. Now, one part of me I do think that McCarthy takes a lot of the blame for the losses, which, okay, you're the head coach. That just goes along with you and also the quarterback. But at the same time, you got to think Jerry Jones makes GM decisions for the team. That just absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that if the Cowboys, I would say, don't make the playoffs this year, that Mike McCarthy indeed will be extended next year? Go ahead and continue that conversation down in the chat. Barry Sanders explains on a podcast with Marshawn Lynch why he really retired. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
I knew I probably wasn't going to be that guy who would play as long as I could, who tried to play for 20 years. I knew I probably wasn't that guy. And so I feel like, at a certain point, just that, that everyday grind, all those little things you have to do to stay on top of your game. For me, at when I got to 28, 29, I just felt like it wasn't there. And then also, I think probably, just maybe things that was going on with the team. I felt like we were kind of rebuilding. There was no need to stay around. I mean, I had pretty much done everything besides win a Super Bowl. And being that we were kind of rebuilding, I didn't really see that in my sights. So and just that drive, that passion I'd always had. It just, it wasn't there in the same way. And so I figured, it probably, I probably need to be somewhere else on Sunday if my mind and heart really, I knew I would.
And you have to think that some of the reason why I believe that he's not really saying or he's alluded to is that he just couldn't get out of Detroit. Of course, he's not going to admit that, but most running backs have about a 1,500-yard season. And listen, for as much that is a career defining year. Now, he averaged that for about 10 years. Best running back in history, in my opinion. I mean, and that's coming from a Cleveland fan, and we had Jim Brown. So, watching him as a kid, it just, he's up there with one of the favorite running backs of all time. Listen, I don't necessarily know if Alabama is the same Alabama or could be without their illustrious coach. Oklahoma sent them home 24-3. And then Alabama thought they scored on a fourth down play from Ryan Williams, but the play was overturned due to illegal touching. You know, I think some people are trying to blame it on the refs. And they want them investigated. But at the same time, you have to think 24-3 isn't an investigation. That's just poor football play. And to me, that takes Milroe out of the conversation for Heisman, in my opinion. But, let me know what you guys think down in the chat. I do not agree. I do not agree with that being the defining reason that they lost. So the refs cheated the whole entire game, y'all. I need some of y'all to stop playing. Listen, Kawhi Leonard is basically retired, y'all. Basically. I mean, he's not practiced with the team at all yet, period, this season. And for as much, he's just not even close to a return. I mean, if you talk about how to finesse the NBA, listen, if I send you a picture of Kawhi Leonard, someone's getting finessed. I think he was an all-star in my mind. That's how I want to say it. But not a superstar. He never could just get going. I mean, some people will say, okay, let's look at the other side of it, Tiffany. Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time champ, 2-time Finals MVP. He has nothing left to prove, and he'll be in the Hall of Fame, and I get it. But does that mean that his career stops now because he has those accolades? He's still playing. He's still an active NBA player. And yes, I don't disagree. He's one of the best NBA players to ever play. He led, two mid teams to the finals championship with little to no help. I get it. But at this point in time, what is he contributing to his team? What is he contributing to the game of basketball? Currently, nothing. Nothing at all. And this little kid right here is yelling and he's clapping. And this meme is all over social media, what I just played, because every single time it's time for Kawhi Leonard to play and he gets hurt, the meme is a little boy clapping like, okay, cool, I can sit this one out. Stephen A called Kawhi the worst superstar in the history of sports. So, you know, do you think that Kawhi is even interested in playing at this point? Not his injuries. Do you think that he's interested in playing? And a lot of that comes with being injured and the psyche of not being able to play because of injuries. So at this point, how do you feel? Do you feel like he's going to give it all he's got, or is he just done? Inside the NBA will air next season. So the crew is not breaking up. They'll be on ESPN and ABC at the beginning of next season as a part of a settlement between Warner Brothers Discovery and the NBA, according to reports. Opening night will be Christmas Day, the playoffs, and the NBA finals. And you know what? I think that with enough people, and this is why I say if you use your voices within the right way, in a positive instead of a negative, then you have positive outcomes. And I'm just glad that they were able to keep this together. I just hope, and you guys let me know what you think, that ESPN and ABC will allow them to be original how TNT allowed them to be. You know, a lot of times you get over to ESPN and, it's their way or bye bye. It's a lot of chitter chatter and bitter batter with them. And if it's not their way, it's the highway. So I just hope that they keep the essence of that show and the way that it is. Keep it going. Now, listen, I watched one of the biggest sports debacles in my time. And when we talk about being finessed into thinking that something was going to be, some people, I didn't buy into it at all. Some people kept hyping this up to be bigger than what it actually was, what we all knew that it would be. And that was basically the Paul versus Tyson fight. I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you all. I didn't like it. It didn't seem right from the beginning. And then it was postponed. It just looked like it was a show for money. Let's get something together, put some cards together. The undercard fights were a lot better than the main event, if you ask me. Especially the girls. That fight was better than the main card. I think Serrano got robbed, but we'll leave that where it is. But at the end of the fight, Mike Tyson had a few words. I don't even really feel comfortable calling it a fight. But he said, this is one of those situations when you lost, but you still won. I'm grateful for last night. No regrets to get in the ring one last time. I almost died in June. Had 8 blood transfusions, lost half my blood and 25 pounds in the hospital. And I had to fight to get healthy to fight. So I won. To have my children see me stand toe-to-toe and finish 8 rounds with a talented fighter half my age in front of a packed Dallas Cowboys stadium is an experience that no man has the right to ask for. Thank you. And where I get all of that can mean something in the substance. I think sometimes your legacy is just where you leave it. And your legacy is always going to be Iron Mike. Your legacy will always be the fights that you, what was it, 30 seconds and they were knocked out cold. You were called Iron Mike for a reason. You were a fighter. This wasn't a fight. And your legacy is going to go like this. He lost to Jake Paul. That's just how that's going to end. Let me know what you guys think. Cam Newton is hurt over the Panthers, seemingly scrubbing him from the team's history. Now, he says we went into the Panthers facility, and you mean to tell me one of the most greatest Panthers to ever play ain't up on the walls nowhere? I'm talking about nowhere. Who brought it to my attention was my son. So, as a man, excuse me, when you have to explain to your son, Daddy, where's your pictures? That doesn't feel so well. And um, people aren't so nice about it or sympathetic to it. Listen, Heisman Trophy, Rookie of the Year, and MVP. Why isn't he up there? He's not ass. Let's just call it frankly what it is. Okay? And if you think that he is, and you think that that's the reason why he's not there, then you need to question what you know about football, number one. Number two, the Panthers clapped back and said that it's because he's not officially retired. Doesn't make a difference. Where is he for what he's done with the organization? So you're going to wait until he's retired to give him his flowers? At the Rookie of the Year and the MVP of the Year, he should have been on that wall. Just saying. Now, I don't agree with a lot of what Cam does and his antics. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Do you think he should be on that wall? Let me know what you think. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think Zion is taking basketball seriously? Because Boogie seems to think that his career is not where it should be at this point because he got drafted to New Orleans. Meaning there's a lot of food, there's a lot of partying, there's a lot of everything that goes on in New Orleans. And that's the reason why, he has not done well in the NBA. Well, here's my thing. You did all of that hard work and was a top pick. You probably dreamed of being in the NBA, as every other basketball player does who has that in their sights. And then you get drafted. And then you act like this. So what? He lives in New Orleans. There's food everywhere in the United States. There's club everywhere in the United States. What does that have to do with anything? It doesn't. Zion has to take accountability for Zion and stop the nonsense. Okay? Stop it. Because there's no reason at all why there should ever be a conversation as to why he's not good based on where he was drafted, not because of the team, and the team is not giving him the tools he needs to be successful. Oh no, this is because of it, the demographics around him. So that's your excuse?
Oh, hell
no! Not buying it. Not buying it at all. Eat right, take care of your body, and act like you want to be a professional basketball player. And that's just that. That's just that. Popovich suffered a mild stroke on November the 2nd. He is expected to make a full recovery. His timeline has not been completely determined. This goes to another point that no matter where we are in life, no matter what we're doing, how good we are, how much money we have, your health will stop all of that in a minute. And we've seen it happen in sports and otherwise. So when something like this happens, it's you put yourself in a state of shock, because we sometimes forget that these are just human beings, and they're not above health problems. They're not above anything else. They're just in a different role and position. So hopefully, you know, Pop can come back, finish out the season. But when things like this happen in a high stress level of a role that he is in, sometimes you got to think, well, if you're done, Pop, we all understand. So Deion Sanders says that he'll privately stop NFL teams from drafting Shador Sanders. And he plans to step in if the wrong team, gets on the horn and says that they want to take his son. And he got hit with a flurry of comments on social media, right? But how is that any different than Archie Manning doing that for Peyton and Eli? We've seen this before, all right? Nepotism. LeBron and Bronny. Whether you agree with it or not, it happens. So Prime won't be the first or the last person to do that. And there are times where things like this go on and we just don't hear about it. It's just the fact that some people are up there so high that we hear about it, but this isn't new. And some people are saying, is Shador that good? Well, you have to be living under a rock to ask that question. Is Shador that good? Do I think he's a bit mouthy? Yes. Do I think he's a bit of a showman? Yes, but that's how Deion was. But at the same time, you can't take away that he is a good pocket passer quarterback. And he will be drafted number one. And it's hard right now because you have two players from the same team that both can go number one. And I think if they don't, they're definitely going to be top three. But you do have Travis Hunter. And I'm not even going to leave out Genty. So that number one spot is up. But you have got to be living under a rock if you don't think he deserves to be drafted in the NFL. Whatever round he goes, let's just hope he gets to the right situation. I have never heard of a part-time basketball player until about a week ago. And that's when Bronny James news came out that he will only be a part-time G League player for the Lakers. And Bronny will only play in home games for the South Bay Lakers. This is going to hurt him. This is going to hurt his progress. You can't get better being a part-time player. You're not going to have the skill set to come out of the G League. Doesn't matter who your father is. This isn't going to set him up for success. It'll lead some people to say, well, he should have never been drafted. Okay, be that as it may, that part happen. That's water under the bridge. But let's talk about what's going on currently. Okay. If he went to the G League in order to get better so that he could make the starting lineup, possibly, or come off the bench for the Lakers, how is allowing him to play part-time going to help him improve his game? Somebody need to call up Lethal Shooter and get him on the line to help him with his shot. Or alternatively, maybe, just maybe he did this for his dad. And he can say, you know what, Dad, I'm sorry, this ain't gonna work. This ain't for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just have never heard of a part-time basketball player. What y'all think? Do you think this is going to help him or hurt him? Listen, Curry went off. And what you're hearing in the background is Curry going toe to toe in front of Klay Thompson with the Dallas Mavericks, and he put on a show. Left Klay looking like at the end of the game, like, I miss that guy. But for me, it's a matter of, you know, is Klay happy with Dallas? Is he performing to his capability? Last couple of games I've seen with him, he just doesn't appear to be in that same rhythm, and it could be that he hasn't gotten into a rhythm with the players. He hasn't really gelled that well. I mean, he goes off sometimes, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's just not like, and nor did we really think it would be, but I'm saying he's still active, he's still playing basketball, he's still an NBA player. It's just that puzzle piece right there. It just isn't quite fitting right now in Dallas. I think that Lamar Jackson should still be the front runner for MVP. I just think that there's a difference in his quarterbacking than we have seen. He dropped the weight. And when I tell you that he's making plays happen, he's making them happen. He's putting himself out there. Now he has help now with Derrick Henry. So, of course, his rushing yards should decrease. But at the same time, people that said he wasn't so quarterbacky, news analysts are trying to take him out of the conversation because he hasn't won a chip yet. He hasn't hoisted that Lombardi. And be that as it may, it doesn't take away from the MVP is for the regular season. Okay, regular season. So as of right now, who's even close? Who's even close to Lamar Jackson that he will be taken out of this conversation? There's one analyst on ESPN, Mina Kimes. I think she's on NFL Live a lot. And she said Lamar Jackson is still the MVP frontrunner, but Kyler Murray has entered the conversation. No, ma'am. No, no. Not at all. And there can't be anybody else that thinks that besides her. That's not even worth addressing. Kyler Murray isn't even close in that conversation. I don't care how many good games he's had. It's not been on a Lamar Jackson level. And Lamar Jackson is doing it with the supporting cast. What's going on with the Bears? Listen, when I tell you that Caleb, I think he needs to sit down and he needs to be developed because he's all over the place in the NFL. This is a much different game than college football. And he cannot get himself together when he's under center. I'm talking about the passing has been the worst part of his game. And I just don't, between their carousel of coaches that they go through, definitely will be a new coach. No way Eberflus keeps his job. To me, it's just a little too late. When you couldn't call Harbaugh, not that I don't think Harbaugh would have went there, but you couldn't even make that phone call. You kept Eberflus. All right, you get Caleb. You put all these weapons around him, and then what? On top of that, y'all keep marching yourselves backwards every chance that you get. These penalties is what's costing you the game. But Caleb, he just looks frazzled. He doesn't look comfortable. He's not in control in the pocket. He's all over the place. I don't know how he's doing in the NFL. And this goes back to something that Tom Brady said, that they're taking him right out of college and putting him on the field. The difference between today and back in the day is the fact that quarterbacks were developed. Look how long Brady sat. Look how long Mahomes sat. You see the conversation that they're in right now. Matt Eberflus, he promised that the changes and adjustments for the struggling Bears would be, fixed. Passing game coordinator Thomas Brown has been promoted to offensive coordinator. So even with those changes, I just don't think that it, in my opinion, was enough. Listen, the first father-son duo to record a triple-double in NBA history, Scottie Pippen and Scottie Pippen Jr. Scottie Pippen and Scottie Pippen Jr. became the first father-son in that triple-double conversation. And I really do think that his son is turning out to be a solid player, great fundamentals, and you can just see that he loves the sport. And it's nice to see him getting his flowers and his shine. I believe, I gotta look this up, but I believe Dolph and Danny Skays, I never had no say that last name. I believe they accomplished this first. But I'm not sure. But anyway, shout out to Scottie Pippen and his son for getting that done. Listen, what do you guys think about the state of the NBA right now? Here's why I'm asking. If you take a look at the NBA, I would say viewership, okay, say it like that. It's been down. I believe the last statistics I saw was about 28% through November the 21st. And I believe that has a lot to do with how the league is transformed. What I mean is, this is just a shoot heavy league. There isn't any defense. Get the ball, run down the court, shoot. Get the ball, run down the court, shoot. Get the ball, run down the court, shoot. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Miss them, make them, miss them, make them, miss them. There isn't any more fundamentals being seen. There isn't any more defense. There isn't any more dog in this game. I don't see it. And people don't want to come to games to see that. People don't want to tune in to see that. The NBA is just very watered down, and it's like a system. It's like they're almost robotic in some instances where, come on now, you're taking 60, 70, 80 shots a game and only making 20. Sometimes even less than that. I think some people try to blame it on, well, we had the World Series going on and football started. Since when has that ever interrupted, one, NBA viewership, and two, people attending to those games? And the election, they tried to blame it on the election. I think that the playing style more so is the issues. The product of the court, this play-in tournament, fans are coming to see ball players ball, Not to see him sitting on the bench in the best dressed whatever you done bought from Rodeo Drive because you're on load management, so you're not playing today. Or you have a player like Joel Embiid who just picks his butt and smells his fingers and doesn't want to play basketball at all.
Oh, Lord!
Things like that are going on. NBA, just like the NFL and any other major sports, baseball, soccer, hockey, is a product. And right now, I just don't feel like the game resembles what real NBA hoops was. Rules can't defend paint up to 5 steps allowed, no hand checking, defense is gone as our basic fundamentals. 3-point shooting contests nightly, which means that, you know, more failures for the fans to watch. That's just how I can put that. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Do you think that the NBA is washed now? I think it is. I have no interest in really watching it like that, and even betting, as far as betting, other than some player props here and there, but even betting is down on NBA. So Adam Silver, he's gonna have to figure out something. Most people are just watching the last minutes of a game. And I won't go as far as some people are saying that LeBron James owns the officiating. And it's always like that when he's on the court and he plays and he controls and he demands and this, that, and the other. Take that out of it. The NBA as a whole right now just simply needs a lot of work. So, on that note, when we come back, it's going to be time to get a little bit of these best bets going off. Get your pens and your papers so you can make some of these coins. And we're going to get into Gone Now because I have a good one coming up.
Looking for some quality betting picks? Well, download the Discord app and join our group Bet Masters Lounge where you can get positive EV and arbitrage along with best bets and parlays. Download Discord now, send us an invite, and get in on the action.
All right, get your papers out. Time to make a few coins on these bets. We're going to start off with college football. Of course, you already know. Michigan and Ohio State, these Buckeyes are about to tear Michigan a new blah, blah, blah. That's right. But in that game, I'm going to take the over at 42.5 and OSU on the money line. I'm going to take the over in the SMU and Cal game, 55.5. We'll take SMU on the money line there. And I am going to go with Penn State over Maryland on the money line, excuse me. And I am going to take the over there at 50. And my last college bet is going to be Missouri and Arkansas this week. I'm going to take the over at 53. And I am going to take Arkansas on the spread at plus 3.5. Go ahead and get those college bets in. Now to move over here to the NFL this week, of course, we're going to start off with the the Browns and the Broncos because I'm going to start with my team first. Thank you very much. I want to take the over 41.5 and I'm going to take the Browns at plus 5.5. And then we're going to look at the Bengals and the Steelers, another divisional game. But I'm going to take the over there at 47.5. And I'm going to take the Bengals on the money line, jumping down to, the Panthers and the Bucks. I'm going to take the over. I think they undershot this one at 46.5. Tampa Bay on the money line, and then the Bills and the Niners. I'm going to take the under 44.5 on that one. And I'm going to give the spread to the Bills at minus 5.5. And then my last bet, let's see here. Looks like, I don't know. I feel like the that Cardinals and Vikings game will be low scoring. So I would take the under in the first half. Okay. First half would be under 22.5. And in the first half, I'm going to give the spread to Arizona at plus 2.5 on that. And then what I have here for NBA, we have, let's see here. There wasn't really many, interesting games for NBA. But for the Bucks and the Wizards, I'm going to take the Bucks at minus 15.5. I think that's overshot quite a bit over the Wizards. And I'll take the Bucks on the money line. And then for the Suns and the Warriors, I'm going to go with the Suns on the money line and the Suns to cover the spread. And the Mavericks and the Jazz, I'll take the Mavs on the money line and to cover. And so those are going to be our best bets for this week. And when we come back, we are going to get knee deep into some Gone Now, because it's a whole lot of Gone Now that needs to be talked about. Be right back. So we got drama in Minnesota. And looks like Anthony Edwards may leave the Timberwolves after soon, I would think, after this year. But listen, I believe that the trade really set them back. And now Ant is thrown into a position to be a true leader rather than having you basically traded for a poor man's version of Cat that's ball dominant but is also limited. Let's keep it a buck. Rudy is getting exposed. Gone now. All that defensive player of the year stuff. This year, your skirt's being pulled up. Mike Conley is old and the bench is average, in my opinion. I think Ant will be leaving soon, and he don't waste his prime years like KG did. And to me, it's like when you watch them, you can tell that everybody's in their own world. Everybody has their own agenda, and it's sort of like the Julius Randle effect is happening in Minnesota. And Ant speaks out and the internet crashes out. Oh, he's complaining again. Gone now. He's on that floor every single night. He knows exactly what he's saying. And if you are a sports fan or you know anything about basketball and what you're seeing on the floor, he's absolutely correct. He was quoted by saying, we go into our own shell and we're just growing away from each other. It's obvious we can't talk to each other. It's just like a bunch of little kids. And this is what he was saying after the press conference. And to me now, when you look at Cat, he's averaging some big time numbers in New York. But, I think that if he did leave, he would be a good fit. Perhaps even with the Lakers, in my opinion. And I know some people may not agree with that, but people thought the Knicks fans was crazy when they talked about getting rid of Randall, and now he just legit just like dampens the whole vibe on the team. Take Randall out of the mix and watch everyone play better. You can just tell in his demeanor and his body language on the court and just overall same predictable moves, offensive off the arms all the time. Just watch him all the time. He's good, but he will be better somewhere else. Um, you know, otherwise, hello mediocrity at this point. So go on now. Y'all leave Ant-Man alone. He is saying exactly what you see on the court. And for Mr. Aubrey Graham, who decided to shake up the hip hop world and file a lawsuit against UMG because you lost a rap battle. Sir, this is why people are saying that you manipulated the culture, because this is not what happens in rap beef. You can go back to Kool Moe Dee. You can go back to MC Shane. You can go back to Biggie and Pac. You can go back to Nas and Jay-Z, 50 Cent and Ja Rule, and the list can goes on and on. You say what you say on wax, leave it there. Words get thrown around. You can listen to battle rap, Loaded Lux, Murder Mook. You can listen to any Math Hoffa, anybody, Daylight, anybody. And this is not how this goes. You just have to take your L and go and make your music. Now you're trying to interrupt what this man has set the tone for. You wanted the rap battle. You baited him to you. You talked about his wife. You talked about his children. You falsely accused him of domestic violence, and that had to be shut down. You said some awful things about his family, and then you baited him into a battle. And when he cooked you, you couldn't take the L. You had to go file a lawsuit, and not even just once, twice, but then UMG hit you with the Uno reverse and said, oh no, hold on a second. It don't work like that. Just because you lost, sir, it doesn't mean you're going to come for our necks and make it seem like we gassed up the record when the people liked the record. The people are not bots. The videos you saw of concerts are not bots. The videos that you saw of people in the community are not bots. But what you did is you took that opportunity to then go on a live stream with another white Canadian and say awful things about hip hop when that's how you have been eating for the last 15 years. And when you tried to put out a pop album, when you tried to put out a what genre of music is that, like disco or whatever you want to call it, and you tried to compete in that market, it didn't go well. So you've been eating off of hip hop. You have been emulating the culture. You couldn't decide if you wanted to be Canadian. You had that voice. You went down to Texas and then you had that voice. When you with the Hispanic community, you got that voice. Then you was a cholo with the Mexicans. Then you go over to Dominican Republic, now you Dominican. You go to Jamaica, now you a Jamaican. You go to Atlanta and now you black. You are manipulating the culture, sir. And you got called out for it in a rap battle that you wanted. So now you can't double back and say, oh no, I lost. Now they're giving him the Super Bowl. Whatever the case may be, however you feel about it, you lost a battle. And now you wonder why the entire hip hop community is like, this is not what we do. This isn't what we do. You ran over to the Mexican community, thought that they was going to have your back because you still good in LA, and they told you to go on now. Don't come over here trying to emulate our culture. Flew you on up out of LA. Then you went down to Texas and bought a big old house down there and thought that you could fit in with the Texas boys. And they said, no, stop. You can't emulate this culture down here either. So then what do you do after you file the 2 lawsuits? You go on live stream again with this white streamer and you announce that you are having your world tour start in Australia on the day of the Super Bowl. Go on now. Now, Drake, do you actually think that the whole world doesn't watch the Super Bowl? It is the biggest watched world event to date besides FIFA. So, do you think that the tour that you are starting in Australia is going to somehow overshadow the Super Bowl? More importantly, it's not even about that. You're trying to throw anything in the way so that people can forget that the man that cooked you in a rap battle, this ain't about nothing else other than a rap battle. We're not talking about personal feelings. This ain't about if you like Kendrick. This ain't about if you like Drake. This is about a simple rap battle. The essence of hip hop started at the battle. And in 50 years of hip hop, the whole community is stunned because no one has ever seen anything like this go down. And you think just because you start a world tour in Australia, Mr. Graham, that it's going to stop people from watching the Super Bowl? Do you think that it's going to stop people from watching the halftime show? Some people may not, and that's fine. That's on them. But do you think for the mass majority of everybody who tunes into the Super Bowl will not watch it just because you're Drake? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. So for you, Drake, gone now. You don't understand the culture. You ate off of it. You benefited from it early. And then you got so big. Remember you said, I'm one away from Michael Jackson. Boy, beat it. Boy, beat it. You can put yourself in the same conversation as Mike Jack. Stop it. Knock it off. Okay? Stop right now. Because this is how people go out bad in their careers. It happened to 50. 50 went against Jimmy Iovine and Interscope, and what happened? He ain't made an album anymore since 2005, 2006. He went straight to movies. They did the same thing to Kanye. What album has he made? He hasn't. So you're going to make it bad for yourself. And this isn't even about what's going on in the music industry. Now, see, people would have more respect if you would have took your L in the rap battle and said later on, some years later, listen, as a community, we need to get together and figure out how these record labels are manipulating the artist. That would have come off better. Start with a conversation. But listen, in your complaint, you mentioned not like us. So this isn't about how the music industry is shading artists. This is simply about you got cooked, smoked, and gassed in a rap battle, and you're taking it to court. Foul on the play. Throw the red flag down. That doesn't happen. And even people outside of the hip hop community, just on strict business purposes, that's just sick, nasty work. Gone now. That's going to end it for this week's episode of A Win is a Win. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I promise you, won't even cost you a thing. And while you're at it, don't forget you can check us out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And listen, don't forget to hit that like button and hit that notification bell so you know when a new episode drops. And don't forget those likes are important. Keep a sister in the algorithm so that this is suggested to YouTube and other channels that we are on. And guess what? You already know. I'll see you guys back here. What? That's right. Next week. Peace.